Okay, so this is the last meeting of the fiscal year for Women Painters West 2025. And this is our opportunity to welcome new board and committee members and our newly admitted members. So first, the two new board members and committee member, we have Andrea Monroe, who is now in the position of secretary. And we have Marian Fortunati, who I don't think is here. And she is in the position of treasurer.
Sure.
So let me see, I go on to 2 pages here. No, she's not here. And then Susan Whitley is also joining in to help out with membership. And that's one of those things that I think there's like 3 or 4 months of the year where that's terribly busy. And then after that, it goes all quiet and you think, oh yeah, we got this link. No, then it starts again. Okay, so on the new members, welcome everybody. We almost always have tech issues of some kind. So don't worry about it. One of the things that I'm going to try and do is make sure that the link for the Zoom meetings is the same link all year. This might change between now and in the next couple of months because I've got to renew the membership. But if it's useful, the first one of September as well, save the Zoom link, because then if you ever lose it in the email, if you've got it in your bookmarks, then that makes it a lot easier. Then we don't get scrambled emails. So can I have the Zoom link, please, at the last minute? Which I'm happy to field, but I may not always be listening because I'm on Zoom. Anyway, so welcome everybody, and we're going to all introduce the new members. I remember I was really nervous when I first did this about 10 years ago, and of course, seeing as my name was starting with B, I had to go first. So for the person who goes first, I think we're just expecting you to say like a paragraph or 2 about yourself, however you want to express yourself. That's kind of all we're expecting. And Arlene, I believe, is going to show the submissions that we have, and we'll just go through them in order. And whoever's at the top is going to be the first person up.
She's gonna join shortly. She just texted.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's go past Barbara then. Yeah, we'll skip Barbara for now. Okay, so Cheryl, is Cheryl here?
I am.
Okay, Cheryl, you're up. Let us know a little bit about yourself and maybe a little bit about these paintings that you submitted.
Certainly. Hi, I'm Cheryl Ehlers, and I am very honored to have been accepted as a member of your organization. As you have, we had an experience before with an exhibition at a gallery that I'm a president of, and I had such a high regard for the members and the art that came in and the diversification of all the styles. It was very intriguing for me. So I thought I'd give it a chance and see if I might even be close to that. And I'm thrilled. So thank you very much for that. Presently, I'm the president of the North Coastal Art Gallery. The organization is the Carlsbad Oceanside Art League. I'm also the vice president of the San Diego Art Directory in San Diego. And I'm also a fiduciary for Terry Inc., which is a disabled an organization of mentally disabled due to accidents. I also, as you can see, that one's upside down, isn't it?
Oh.
That's okay. Okay, so the pieces that you see. I
thought you were just being artistic there.
No, this is Finding Nemo. Nemo is actually in one of the flowers. He is just it's an acrylic painting that I was it started out as one thing, and I'm very well known for painting 3 or 4 paintings over a painting before I get what I want. So that's that particular one, and that he ended up being Finding Nemo. So this one is actually, that's not Smoke and Ivory. That one is actually is Manhattan. And that was taken when I was in Manhattan with my family and the skyline, and kind of how I remembered it, which was a lovely thing and fun to paint. not a mixed media, it's all acrylic, but it's done in a very kind of semi-real abstract way. The next one is smoking ivory. It's upside down. That's okay.
Looks
That one
good
was
this way too,
done.
though.
I can't
That was
fix it right now.
that's
It's
a
in the PDF.
watercolor. This one is a watercolor. Of all the other two, they were acrylics. This one was done on a rainy day on my kitchen counter, and I had a full sheet of watercolor paper, 300-pound
Wow.
paper stuck on the counter. I dropped my paintbrush and I bent down, and when I looked up, I saw the actual lines, which, like I said, this was upside down, were my countertop. So I just, because I didn't know what I was going to paint, I just knew I had to paint something. So I decided I was going to paint the countertop, make it keys, and then I decided the keys needed music. And then I come from a family of musicians, so I decided to put the saxophone in there, and then I decided to light it on fire. So I called it Smoking Ivory, and it ended up being, it's owned by the president of the Rock and Roll Marathon, and it was branded the Austin Rock and Roll Run in Austin, Texas, the same year that it was done. So it was a fun piece. It's fun when you can do them in about an hour, you know. And this was just flipping out crazy, going nuts with a fan because I needed it to dry as I was being the watercolor. There's a lot of wet in it, so it was fun.
Take the win when it happens, right?
Absolutely, and that's what I did. So it took it formed itself by itself. So,
and I do notice that we have the titles flipped on number 2 and number 3. So sorry about that. I promised everybody tech issues, so
that's okay. It's not a problem. Just everybody think about it in upside down. So that's okay. And
great title.
I
Beautiful
appreciate
artworks, Cheryl.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I do watercolor, acrylic, mixed media. I do sculpture, and I make jewelry. So I kind of keep my hands in a lot of the mediums.
And you're very good on board meetings, so we'll have
and you work. So wow.
Yeah, and I work. I just was fortunate to curate 2 spaces in a big shopping mall here in Carlsbad for the artists at the gallery, and now I just picked up a program for youth art instruction, which I just named it Art Star. So it's going to start for the summer months, and that's all sponsored by these organizations I just keep running into that just say, you know, we want to offer you this. And I'm going, I'm taking it. So I'm walking through that door. I'll walk through any door that you put me through. It might not be the right one, but if it doesn't work, I'll back myself out and go somewhere else.
I love it.
So that's my personality. So thank you very much for allowing me to share.
Thank you. And I'm sure as a gallery owner that we'll be back to display again in the next couple of years. You'll have this. Okay. Arella Tomlinson, sorry. You hear Arella?
Yes.
Okay. Did I say your first name correctly?
Arella.
Arella, I do apologize. I get called Jeannie and Jeannie as well. So we most people get it up. So Arella. So tell us about yourself, Arella.
Well, thank you for having me. And I'm so honored also to be part of Women Painters West. I've heard about you for many years. And so this painting is called Women of the Grasses. And so I do mixed media painting, most often in oils, but a lot of times I'll start in acrylics and do an underpainting. And I do a lot these days. I do a lot of portraits. The portraits are, with this series, the portraits are on maps. And sometimes they're maps where I create the topography, and sometimes, as the case for this one, it's a vinyl, an existing vinyl map that has 3 dimensions, raised relief map that I'm painting on. And so this one, we can't really see it from this view, but I just like creating things that work from far away, and then that have a lot of treats in it, like a little treasure hunt when you get up close. So this one, you can see, if you get up close to it, you can see it's a map of the Monterey, California area. And so, and then the figure is, she's not someone I know, but she is supposed to represent a woman that could plausibly be an indigenous woman from that area. So Yeah. So that's called Women of the Grasses. This one is called Rise, and this one is on a map of the Death Valley and represented rebirth. I don't know anyone else here is a cancer survivor, but that's something about me that I want to share. Just years ago, so I'm very happy to be healthy now. But it's a part of my experience. So anyway, I did this painting kind of in the years that I was, I don't know, healing the emotional aspects of myself through that, from that. So it was kind of about rebirth. Yeah. And then this third one is called Homeland Glow. And I just, had a story that came to my mind about, again, also on Death Valley, but about a person who's found home in a place, it feels at home. And so, yeah. So anyway, I feel like I am exploring like a sense of inner peace through my figurative work, and then also with my style that has, I'm addicted to that creating and that texture and mountains and yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you
Nice to
so
be here.
much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Linda French. Linda, are you here?
I am. My
Okay.
screen says Linda Jameson. That's my
Okay.
married name, but I don't know how to change it on here to make it be French, but
Don't worry. Yeah, well, that's
I'm the
fine.
same person.
That's
so.
okay.
Okay, I'm an intuitive painter. I just like starting my work with gestural lines and colors that I like. And I don't have anything in mind when I start my paintings. But then I'm very influenced with my surroundings. And I live in Pasadena, and so there's always these glorious flowers. So a lot of flowers do end up in my work, but they're not flowers that you can identify because I just play with shapes and colors. So I go through all these processes. The first is just play. And then the second is a lot of looking and then exploring different ways, to make it into something that I like. And these are what I end up with.
They're beautiful.
Yeah,
Really
really
I
nice.
love them.
Beautiful.
I like this one.
I can talk about this one. This one, it started out as purely abstract, probably 2 years ago. And it just sat in my studio. And then recently my brother died. And when I got back from the funeral, I picked it up and turned it into this. And the bottom part of it is cracks in the sidewalk. And so the intent in this is that despite the cracks in our lives, we can still bloom. We can still bloom.
Nice.
So
Beautiful.
that's what it's about. This one is just what and they go through so many stages. I'm like Cheryl. I can paint 3 or 4 paintings before I actually get to something that I like. And this is just what I feel walk through places like Descanso Gardens or people that have painted or planted different gardens and stuff. So
That's beautiful.
Beautiful.
It is.
thank you.
Beautiful.
Wonderful.
It is. It's
Thank
very
you. Welcome.
Yeah.
interesting too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one looks
Very
like a
interesting.
forest and the snow to me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
funny how
Feathers.
people. It's funny how people see different things.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for
All
me,
seasons.
I think
Huh?
that's called art.
Yes.
but I
40 by
named it
40.
enchanted because I do feel enchanted when I walk through some of the things in nature. So this is how I feel when I walk through
Okay.
those kinds of
Can I
things.
tag on to your world too? I love it. Can I tag on to your world too?
Oh,
I love it too.
sure
I
thing.
love your concept. I love all of your concepts. It's really yours as well too. I mean,
Okay.
it's just fascinating, fascinating. Your
Thank-
thought processing is fascinating.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Well,
Thank
I
you.
like
I
too. I
too
like
have
the different moods. Each
Yeah.
picture has a completely different mood. Do you like work from sort of memory when you get back to do your painting from what you've seen?
well, unconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think about it really until it gets into like the middle part of the painting. I decide that I have to make it into something, you know, so just start, you know, using design and value composition. And what I end up with is I just paint it until I feel like it's something I enjoy looking at.
Mhm.
I really, I can't tell anyone how I do each painting, you know, because I don't remember what's underneath it.
Mm.
So, you know, it just goes in
Right.
layers. It just goes in layers. So
Stops in interesting places.
I too am very excited to be a part of this group. So thank you for.
You're welcome. Okay, Nancy
Oh.
Flint. Now I believe Nancy, did Nancy make it? Okay, so she was one of the ladies that I was sent a paragraph to read for her. I'm honored to be part of such a respected and welcoming group of women. I'm fairly new to the world of art. I've loved painting since high school and have taken college art classes, but I do not have a degree in art. Would love to go back and get one. In 2023, I decided it was time to pursue my love of painting. I started entering juried shows so I could show my work and giving myself deadlines to keep motivated. I'm so grateful to have my work accepted in many shows and even win awards. Illuminated Bengal, I think that's the one that we're looking at, right? That was number one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Illuminated Bengal just won second place Sunday in the Westlake Village Art Guild Open Juried Show. My main medium is watercolor. All three of my submitted paintings are 14 by 11 translucent watercolors on Arches cold press. With these three paintings, I studied my process with selecting an image to work from. The images I use are my own photos from my own experiences. My kitty Kaya in the sunlight, bowl of veggies from my garden, and a hike in Yosemite. I use the images for reference as I sketch out the main shapes. I then use the liquid save in areas I would like to keep white or lighter. The kitty, I used it on all of the highlights in the fur and the whiskers. I use lots of layers in my watercolors to get the darks and bold colors. Finally, for the fine details, a very fine liner brush to get the almost pen-like details.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Nice, Nancy.
Okay, Sharon.
Hi, I'm Sharon Cannon, and Cheryl, I'm the person that you had a conversation with.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's like you never know where you're going to meet people, right?
That's true. That's true.
It's like it was a great conversation because I was submitting to the Carlsbad show, and anyway, we had some glitches, and I ended up spending a wonderful time speaking with Cheryl. So I'm
Thank you.
very happy to be part of this organization and to already know somebody, sort of.
That's so great, Sharon.
So anyway, I've been in the corporate world most of my life, and I retired in 2022, I think it was. And I'd been painting on taking some classes, and it was more of a kind of a hobby because I'm a workaholic. So I said, I've got to have something to do other than work. This is craziness. And I was getting older. So I said, oh, my dear. So anyway, when I decided to really fully retire, I said, well, what am I going to do? And the couch just didn't look very inviting to me. So, you know, at certain times, but not all day long and all night, evening. So I could, you know, I'm not really a volunteer kind of person. So I said, you know, I love animals, but I don't see myself doing that. So anyway, long story short, I started to put my heart and soul into painting. And I think I'm still really developing maybe my style, but it's all about, I spent all that time in the corporate world. And even though I had a fantastic job and I got a lot of freedom with my job, I still was, you know, there was committees and this has to be approved and that has to be approved. after 30 years or more of doing all of that, it's like, you know what? I don't care anymore whether somebody wants to approve something. I want to be in control of what I want to do. So, and I want to feel freedom and spontaneity as I do it. So I said, well, how am I going to do that? Because I too don't have an art background. I can hardly even draw. So, I mean, I really wouldn't call myself a drawer at all. So how do I take sort of my lack of skills and still be able to make something that inspired me, hopefully inspires others? So I just worked into abstract, and it's kind of how I didn't set out to be abstract, but it's what I ended up with. So this one I called Molten Symphony, and I'm a lot like Linda in a way. She kind of stole my speech, really, about how, looking at things and feeling. Like I was driving back today, and I was driving yesterday down 6th Street, and the jacaranda trees are like, they're just all over. And I'm looking down 6th Street, and I really wanted to take a picture, but I'm driving, so I couldn't, do it in the car, blah, blah, blah. But the feelings just came over me about how beautiful that is. And then I'm driving out to Burbank today, and there's more gorgeous jacaranda trees. And this one was so beautiful, and I stopped by pulled over, and I started taking some pictures, and their whole lawn was just covered with the purple flowers, which is, another whole issue because they're kind of sticky, but they're so beautiful. And I just love the feelings that come over me when I see certain things like that. So I'm trying to learn how to, I don't even know if I really feel like I want to paint feelings, right? I look at something and I get a certain feeling. So I'm hoping that when I'm finished with my piece, there is a certain feeling, but it's art, right? So the feeling for me is not going to be the same as somebody else, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be the same feeling, but hopefully it evokes some kind of a feeling. And this one is called Dusk. And literally I painted it, and I'm really searching for a name. Sometimes I draw on my husband to help me with the names. And I said, Bob, I'm really having a hard time coming up with a name for this. And he looked at it and goes, Dusk. He just, and I said, you're right. That's the feeling, because I love that feeling of many times, especially I lived in San Francisco for years. And so there's a blue haze that kind of comes over late in the afternoon part of the year. And I kind of said, that's right. So that's what it felt to me. So I called it Dusk. So, some of the names come right away. I get them poof right away. Like this is in the eye of the color hurricane. This kind of came to me fast, right? The name was fast, but they don't always come that way. So sometimes I struggle to get the names, and there's a big argument whether it's important to name a piece, not name a piece. Do you want to direct the viewer's eye to see certain things? So there's all those arguments. But for me, the name is important because it's at least from sort of something I see, and it's from my point of view. It doesn't have to be the other person's point of view, but I like to give it a direction for myself, at least, I guess. Anyway, I'm very, very happy to be part of the organization and looking forward to meeting you guys in person.
Okay. Okay, Deborah, I know you're here.
Yes, excuse me, I told you about the dental work, but I
Oh.
can't talk.
Okay, good. I think you were one of the ladies that sent me a statement, and my email systems decided to remove that from my universe. So I'm so glad that you're able to talk.
It's okay.
Okay,
It's
thank
okay.
you. Okay, go ahead. Let us know about you. Welcome.
Okay, this is acrylic, of course. But I'd gone to Ghana, Africa for the first time. And when I saw that the women were the ones working, on the beachfronts, at the marketplace, all of that. So it inspired me. And then I had gone to where they made the kente cloth. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to show the beauty of the fabric. I love fabrics. And just to show the diversity in the women, their interaction, they're looking back at you looking at them, looking to the side, as women do. And that's why I did Women at Work.
Very nice.
Oh.
Beautiful. Yeah. And Mommy and Me, again, I wanted to show the commonalities of the Ghanaian fabric and the Native American fabric, how they look very much the same if you don't
Colors.
know.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know. And Mother and Child was really interesting for me because when my daughter was born, they would tell me, that's not your baby. That's a Mexican baby.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's why I did Mommy and Me. And there was a series to this. I did this because I was asked by the director of arts at I can't even think of the university, medication. She said, "Oh, I want to exhibit your work," and exhibit work. And I said, "Well, who do you want?" And she said, "I want you," and that forced me to create. And this is one.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
This one, when I was in Africa, a bishop, he came to me and he gave me a photograph of the fabric, which is on the top. Now, this is from the Ashanti tribe. You could not wear this design unless you were royalty.
Oh.
The one underneath is from the Ewe tribe. And he said, Mary would have looked very Ethiopian because of the regions at that time. And so reading the Bible, and people have different versions of it, Mary was pregnant. She had other children. So there's some symbols going there. I wanted to show Remember Me as honoring womanhood, motherhood, and human sacrifice.
Yeah.
That's why I did this piece. And Seton Hall.
Beautiful.
Now,
And they're huge. They're really big pieces.
they're
Yeah, they are.
5.8 feet. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't get, because that bishop that asked me to do a painting, it was supposed to be for a bishop that was being installed. Well, that was canceled. And I'd already started on this. So I said, no, I'm supposed to do this piece.
Absolutely.
I did it, but guess
Fabric.
what? Seton
Fascinating.
Hall purchased this piece and it's at a Catholic university.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So I was supposed to do this piece regardless to
Yeah.
whether I was commissioned or not. And after I started on it, and I didn't have a model, but you see, she's barefoot and pregnant. Women can be barefoot, pregnant, but they're still royalty, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Cool. I
Fabric
remember
is
when I read
so-
your statement, I was very interested in your work because the gal who does my braid is from Ghana. So
Really?
yes.
Wow, because I've been 4 times. And so I get different, I got different impressions each time that I went. I love materials, fabrics, as I told you, but most of my work deals with social justice. I was making a statement about women.
Right. But do you have a history? I mean, do you have a degree or a history
Oh
of
yeah,
years of studying
I have
about
an
this?
MFA and I have a bachelor's, yes.
Yeah, not so much the paint, not so much the art degree, but the history and the information that you know about. Is that come from a degree or just reading and?
Well, exposure, also research, because I research everything that I do so that I could tell a story about that culture without judgment. So yes, no, I don't just, it has to, because my thing is social justice.
Mhm.
I have to research because I don't want to be insensitive to another's plight in life.
Yeah, totally.
That's wonderful.
And I am
Yes.
honored. I'm happy to see the work that that's being shared with me. And thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And welcome to
Beautiful
Painters
work.
West.
Oh, I can't hear it. I don't know. I can't. This is not working right. My plug.
Oh, you're okay. Okay, Sionnan. I don't know if Shannon's here. I don't remember seeing her. Yeah, I hope I was saying her name right. It looks like Sionnan to me. No, I guess Sionnan isn't here, and I do not have. I think it was who was the other one? Bonnie was the other person I have the statement for. So we don't have a statement for Sionnan, unfortunately. Hopefully, we'll get to meet her at the in-person new members meeting in September. Okay. And Lynette, I think I saw you on here.
I just came in
Okay, Lynette, yes.
a little late. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
Glad I was able to come before 1:30. So I didn't have a prepared statement, so I'll try to be succinct.
That's okay.
I can't remember what images I gave you. Oh, okay. So I have several series that I've done. This is my urban wildlife. I have other series that are other versions of wildlife, but in general, what I'm most interested in is nature and environment and how animals either survive or do not within various types of environments. And with some of the residencies that I'm doing, I've been a little more directed towards landscape, which was not something I paid as much attention to in the past. So, excuse me, if you go to my website, that's the latest work, some work that I'm doing based on a residency that I participated in early spring in Oregon, in the what they call the Oregon Outback. So, this particular image, I is part of a series of works that I did based on photos of downtown LA. I've been a painter since I was born, and I joined this group because it's painters.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's something really special about painters, even though everyone says, oh, everybody paints, who cares? But I don't feel that way. If someone's serious about painting, I just love to talk painting. Although I do other things as well, but there's something about painting that I am so attracted to. So I did have a number of years where I wasn't painting. I became an art educator, a teacher of teachers. Back in, let's see, I graduated in 06 and came to work in California, and then I just retired last year. So 18 years at Cal State Northridge. I dropped my practice, my studio practice, personal practice for most of that time, and got back to it when I went half-time about 5 years ago. So now I'm fully retired, and now you don't have the money, but you have the time.
Yeah. We know that one.
Yeah. And so I feel like I've developed a certain amount of my content through the last few years. And I am just continuing to work on that.
Cool.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Well, hopefully you have a lot more enjoyment with this in retirement. Okay, Tamara, are you Tamara or Tamara?
Tamara, sing
Tamara, okay.
New York accent.
Okay.
Hi everyone. This is such a joy to get to look at art and hear about what different people are doing. I just feel like it's so important for artists to be with each other. So really glad to be here and be part of this group. Okay, so about my work. I work in sequences of bodies of work. So this is my current body of work. I call it Verdancy Within. And the focus of all my work is about being spiritually engaged, really connecting with what has sacred meaning to us and the reenchantment of everyday life. That's how I like to say it. It's finding that beauty within. And this particular body of work, I'm looking at the inner life as a garden. So that's the metaphor that I'm using. And within that framework for this body of work, I'm also taking like renderings of kind of real in life plants and mixing them with more imaginal plants to touch on magical realism in the literary genre. So it's like that expansion of reality, really touching on the imaginal coming through in life. And I also really look at levels of awareness. So you'll see it in all three of these paintings. There's a definite compositional structure where the lowest level is referencing the ground of being, and then rising up through the causal and subtle realms up to the physical realm, and how ideas can go from grounded being up through to being manifest. Yeah. So about me, I live in Portland, Oregon, one of the long distance members, I guess. And I've been showing for about 20 years. Just had my first solo show at a museum in Washington State.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah, these are all oil paint on canvas. I do a fair amount of research for my work. So right now my research is focusing on its well-being, the well-being that comes from spiritual engagement. I look a lot at the work of Dr. Lisa Miller. She's a clinical psychologist, and she's been doing MRI scans of people that have daily spiritual practice and just finding amazing things like the brain structure is changed in people that are spiritually engaged and in a positive way to support well-being, especially mental well-being. And then I'm starting some research on art and well-being, especially, I mean, the act of doing art and well-being has been documented, and now there's new information coming out, more studies about viewing art and well-being. And I think right now in these times we're living in, it's really good conversation to be having about how to be supporting ourselves in the best way. So I consider my work, putting my work out there as a way to be part of that, helping bring more joy, more upliftment, more buoyancy in these times. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, then Jean. I think Jean's here.
Hello, yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Hi, I'm an abstract painter, and I live in the Los Angeles area. And I've been painting my whole life, but I worked for 15 years, and then I raised my family for 15, 20 years, and now I'm back to painting as of about 4 years ago. And so this is part of my second series that are, I call it the Radiant series. They're more colorful than my first series was. And this is Topos 1. It's kind of topographically related. I kind of feel like there's maybe a mountain range with, that's inundated with fog sort of feeling. I like kind of that glowing, ethereal kind of feeling. Yeah, I do acrylic on canvas. This is one of the earlier pieces in that series. This one I did much more spontaneously. I often start with a sketch in my paint, a little painting in my sketchbook, but this one I just decided to go for it. I just started putting paint on the canvas and kept working on it till I was happy with it. Hence, In the Moment is its title.
Oh.
Yeah, lovely.
This one I renamed Fractured. It had another name, but I started with kind of a ground, what is it called? There's the paste. a molding paste. kind of,
Molding paste.
to give it just an underlying fractured textural quality.
Huh.
And then I painted over that with an image from my sketchbook. So yeah, those are my paintings, and happy to take questions. I'm also very happy to be in Women's Painters West. Very
Oh, and,
excited to be included.
Lynette had a question for you. She said, do you look at J.M.W. Turner's work?
I do very
Of
much.
course.
I love that yellow glow he has.
Hmm.
Oh.
Okay, Rita, I don't think Rita's here. I don't remember. I'm looking now. Rita is not here, and I don't have a statement for her.
Nice.
Mm.
Wow.
That was like a desert scene. Okay, Bonnie. Bonnie, are you here, Bonnie? I don't know that Bonnie's actually here, but I have a statement for Bonnie. Bonnie is a native Mississippian, resides in Camarillo, but has lived in France, Turkey, Italy, and several locations in the US. She received a master's degree in French from the University of Mississippi, a TESL certificate from University of California, Santa Barbara, and a CELI certification for the Université per Stranieri Perugia, Italy. I should have read this before I started. She began her study of oil painting in 2007 at the Van Art Studio in Castelvolturno, Italy, with Luigi Van Westraut, and was awarded a Diploma d'Artista in 2019. She currently studies with master artist David Gallup. She also teaches Italian at Conejo Valley Adult Education in Thousand Oaks. She says, my ongoing goal as an artist is to challenge myself to create ever more complicated and sophisticated works of art. Over time, my paintings have become less traditional, with an emphasis on design, color harmony, expressive brushwork, and extraction. I'm experimenting with these concepts in every painting, whether they be landscapes or still life florals. I'm currently working on a series of aerial landscapes. Inspiration for these paintings came to me while my husband and I were flying our small plane. Seeing and painting the landscape from an altitude of thousands of feet became more exciting to me than the traditional vantage point.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, Susan, I think Susan's here.
Yes, I finally made it. Woo! And again, my apologies for being late. I was teaching a class. So my name is Susan Bagrationoff. There's going to be a quiz on how to spell that later. I am in Kent, Washington, and I own and operate, like I said, a teaching studio. The name is called Artsy Fartsy Art Lessons. And I actually started it when I was still living in Florida. I've now been in Washington State for 9 years. And yeah, I know I came a long way from Florida. I taught for 11 years in public school, most of which was in elementary, and then 1 year in middle school art. I did the 1 year in middle school art while I was in Fort Myers, and then I moved here. Things just worked out. I came here on a whim, and here I am.
Hey.
Thank you. And I am super excited to be a part of Women's Painters West. I would not have known about this organization if it wasn't for TAG. Yep, I am actually a new member of TAG, long distance member, this year. And so I'm like, cool, this sounds awesome. And you know, I know that it seems like this organization has a lot of pop-ups. I know mostly in California, but it looks like also in Oregon and even Washington and Canada. So the more networking, the better.
Yeah. Can we see a couple more of her? Oh, here we go. This
Yeah. So what I was going to say, the first
Fencing.
piece you were showing, that's actually one of my newer pieces. That's Ignite. Obviously, we've had a lot of interesting stuff going on in our country recently. And so give you a little background about my work. Most of my work is mythology, fairy, elemental in nature. And I love texture. And I don't know if you're able to really zoom in on this piece, but if you do, you'll see a lot of texture in that one. Most of Ignite was painted with a palette knife, and it is acrylic paint. And what you cannot see is that I work with modeling paste and it goes off the canvas. So yeah, I like to stay out of the box. So this one was my response to the stuff going on. What we're looking at right now, this is just venting, and this one, another, yeah, definitely emotionally charged, but this one was actually inspired by a very rare thunderstorm we got in Washington last year. And I rushed home to sit outside with a glass of wine and watched the storm roll in. And the clouds were kind of like this greenish tone, and the lightning was awesome. So again, from Florida, I love thunderstorms. And so this was like, yeah, this is great. So that was what that was inspired by, kind of a self. And then this one, Magic in the Water, was actually inspired by a trip to Lake Samish, which is over in Bellingham. And I went kayaking, saw these awesome, huge lily pads, but it was really weird. I don't know if it was water droplets or what, but I was like, ooh, these little purple eyes were watching when I closely examined my photos from the trip. And so that inspired this painting, Magic in the Water, because I felt it very magical. This one also goes off the canvas, and this one actually was at TAG for a month for their elemental show that they had. And it's now off to another exhibition here in Washington State at the Graphite Arts Center. It's called Seeing the Planet.
Okay, cool.
Perfect.
Okay, Barbara came in a little late, so maybe Arlene, can we flip back up to the top of the document and let Barbara introduce herself?
Yay, Barbara.
There we go. Okay. Now you're going to have to pronounce the first half of your last name for us, please, so we don't murder it. Oh, Barbara, you're still muted. Let me see if I can unmute her.
Hello.
Oh, there you go.
Could I possibly give me
I think your video may not be there.
minutes to come back on? I'm listening, but and looking at the pictures. Beautiful, love it. But could I come back on a little bit later?
Well, you're the last one. You're going to log off and come right back on?
Okay, well, I can start talking now.
Okay. You do seem to be breaking up a lot, Barbara. Maybe you should log off, back on again.
By all the beautiful. Okay, yeah, give me a chance, and I will. How is it now? Is it?
Oh, that's good.
Better.
That's good.
Better.
Yeah. Oops, no, you've gone again.
Same.
Yeah, maybe try just logging off and then logging right back in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I'm gonna sit here. I'm so sorry. Okay.
Damn it.
I will log off in a second. I don't want to waste anybody's time.
Well, I can make an announcement while you're logging off and logging back on again, so go for it.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so I would like to encourage everybody who's new to the organization to really consider entering something for the Tryst opportunity coming up in next month. And you probably have had an email that Annie sent out. She and Kenshin are the main organizers on this. And we thought it would be wonderful to be able to include you, seeing as even though you just joined, there's no point to make you wait until September to be able to join in. So if you have any questions, Kenshin or Annie can answer them by email, but please do consider joining this, creating something for this show. Adiola has a hand up. Sorry, yes, Lynn, well, Adiola, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't turn my screen on because it was up about my connection. But I wanted to welcome all the new members, and I'm also ecstatic that so many of the new members are friends of mine that I know. So welcome aboard.
Cool.
There were so many of them. Like when I saw the names, like, yeah.
So you get the prize for top recruiter this year.
Oh.
Jenny, quick announcement.
Sure, go ahead, Jenny.
Yeah, I just I'm the chairperson for the art sharing, and I just wanted to remind everybody and the new members, we have the next art share in Santa Monica at the home of Nancy Rossi. So hey Nancy.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, before the deadline, it's September 13. It's a Saturday from 1 to 4. So check out the website for all the announcements there. Thanks.
Jenny?
Lynette? Yeah, sorry, yes, go ahead, Kenshin.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to put in an additional plug for Trist. I wanted to say that so they're 8x8 canvases. They're easy to paint, and it's going to be the international art show in Torrance, sponsored by the Torrance Museum of Art, is held annually. It's our 3rd annual. It's going to be hundreds of international artists who come. So it's an opportunity to meet and greet a lot of artists. And you can get a painting submitted by the end of the month to our website, and we will take every painting that follows the specs. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and we have places to drop it off so we can get it delivered and handed back and so on and so forth. So do pay attention to that announcement for everybody.
And I see, Lynette, you said that you'll be out of town, but if you can get a painting completed before you leave and hand it to one of the drop-off point people, I will actually be there at the end of the show. So anybody who doesn't turn up to pick up their artwork, I'll just gather it up, and we'll deal with it later. So don't let that
we'll take care of you. Yeah. But we want to have a good show. So this is one of mine that I painted. It took me an hour, right? I mean, it's not, it's fun, right?
Okay.
So
Andrea.
Hi. I'm back. Also wanted to mention that Zoni and I are working on a paint out at Carol's house in October. So there will be something else coming up. So she has a beautiful backyard, and we're just going to do like a plein air event in her yard, potluck.
Okay. In La Cañada, right?
Yeah, La Cañada.
And it's, I think, October 18. Is that
I didn't confirm the date with her yet.
Okay. All right. So we're just confirming the final date, but it's a great time to paint.
Okay. And I wanted to ask Kenshin really quickly, I can put together like a fun flyer to put out to entice more people to do the tryst.
Well, I'm sure the more PR, the better. We do have Suzanne and Lynette working on it. We're gonna have a card that's going to go out and be available for Tryst.
That would be great. We can send it out.
Yeah.
No, I was saying too, not for the visitors, but for the artists.
To enter, right? To enter, which is not
that'd be
that
great.
far away.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, that'd be great. Yeah. Because it's the thing. Welcome new members. And I want to say this is your thing you can do this summer before we have another official meeting. When I joined a few years ago, I was like, what are they doing this summer? Because there wasn't any activity. So
Yes.
we now have something going, and we've invited you to join us because it's going to be fun. You know, it's an opportunity to meet
Yes.
a lot of new people. And I know several of you too. Lynette, I know your work. So it's good to see everybody.
Yes.
Also,
Impressive lineup of works, Jenny. So many beautiful
Yeah,
artworks.
thank you. Oh, okay, Barbara, you're
Okay.
back. We can see you
Yay,
too.
Barbara.
Okay.
I can't see myself, but I see my painting.
Oh, there you go. We can see you.
I see my painting of the chair of the
Yes. Yes.
Okay, well, I do have kind of a statement. But first, let me say that I am so appreciative and so glad to be in this group. And my friend Zoni told me about it, Zoni Gordon, the artist who's in this group, and one of the artists. And you know, I've already been inspired by some of the gorgeous art that I've seen. And so I'll just read this statement and then I'll talk a little bit more. My goal is to concentrate on various types of painting, like portraiture, landscapes, abstract, and to use various techniques using oil paints, waters, pastels, exploring things from realistic to abstract art. Art has always been the thread in my life that gives me joy, and I can't wait to see where my concentrating on art will take me because it's truly what I love. And I'll just to give a little bit about myself. I'm from Sherman Oaks, California, but I was originally from New York, and I was lucky enough to take lessons at the Museum of Modern Art. And I've had 3 exhibits in my life. And one of them was at the Museum of Modern Art when I was 7. Because
wow,
that's a good way to start out.
Way to go.
Height of my career. And then, but I felt that I always wanted to be an artist, but I felt that I wasn't sure I could make a career of it and to support myself. And so I also fell in love with animation while I was at Brandeis, and then continued when I was getting my master's in fine art and my teaching credential at Berkeley. And so I've worked starting with Sesame Street, where I did art, but not this kind of fine art. And every single studio, I think, that does art does animation in Los Angeles. And I had 23 years on staff at Disney, really 27 because they owned the next studio I worked for. But yeah, I don't feel retired. This is going to be my life now, doing art. I also have done 5 children's books, but now I want to concentrate on my painting. At Brandeis, I studied with Frank Stella. Somebody pointed out that my website, which is barbara.dourmashkin@faso.com, doesn't have anything like Stella. I might start doing this. I don't know if you could see me, but I have a painting behind me that was on the cover of of an exhibit. It was on the cover of the catalog for LACMA. They chose it, which was an honor, and I had an exhibit there.
Yeah.
I've also exhibited at the Animation Guild. I've had a show there with 2 friends. Anyway, the first painting of that is in my backyard, and I can do realism. I wish I had turned in one of my portraits. The one commission I had was to do a portrait, and I might be doing more of that. And then the next one is, oh, that's backwards somehow. Got flipped.
Looks good though.
Well, it looks so wrong to me. This is on plein air. I did it on the beach. It's both of them. I start with acrylic, and then so I can do it quickly and then paint over with oil once it dries. And the next one is, on Martha's Vineyard, where I spent since I was 11, many, many years. And but my goal now is to do realistic, not realistic, to do paintings that are more creative. Like they're not, really copies of things out there. Although I do feel that when you paint a flower or whatever you paint, you're seeing things differently and it can turn into a work of art, but I want to explore different ways of expressing myself. And like I said, some of the paintings that I saw from other painters in this group have inspired me. There were very many beautiful ones. And and right now because I got a teaching credential, I can teach if I want pre-K through high school. And I've been just doing a very little bit of that because what I really want to do is just I was doing it because they asked me at my grandchildren's school, but I really want to concentrate on, producing art and exhibiting it. So thank you all for listening.
Okay, well, welcome, and
Beautiful.
hopefully you will be exhibiting with us.
I hope so.
Okay.